Well, good morning. I'm Brent Adams here with your Rural Strong Morning Ag Report for this Monday, December 18th, the 352nd day of 2023. Leading off the headlines this morning, ag officials in several of America's top beef producing states say federal officials didn't properly assess the risk of disease when deciding to allow beef imports from Paraguay to resume. The USDA recently ended a 25-year prohibition on those imports. The prohibition was the result of Paraguay's difficulty in ridding itself of foot and mouth disease. A severe outbreak in the U.S. has the potential to cost more than $200 billion. South Dakota Searchlight says the beef industry groups and some lawmakers have opposed the move, saying the risk analysis was based on outdated information. Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig and officials from 7 other states wrote a letter to U.S. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack to consider pausing the decision until a more reliable risk assessment can be completed based on modern visits to Paraguay. Ag officials from Missouri, Nebraska, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, and Wyoming all signed the letter to Vilsack. Well, to follow up on something we told you about a couple of weeks ago, sustainable aviation fuel just got a huge boost from the Treasury Department that could clear a major new corn ethanol market for takeoff. Treasury's new tax guidance could create a 36 billion gallon market for sustainable aviation fuel made with biofuels such as corn ethanol. Renewable Fuels Association head Jeff Cooper says the Treasury has accepted a key modeling tool to measure carbon intensity and eligibility for a make or break tax credit.
We were looking for inclusion of the Department of Energy's GREET model in this guidance, and we were happy to see that it is in fact listed as an approved methodology for doing that analysis.
The news follows Virgin Atlantic's first ever 100% sustainable aviation fuel transatlantic test flight from London to New York. Cooper says Treasury must still work out the details, but he's hopeful about revisions by next March.
We are cautiously optimistic. We're hopeful that this guidance today is what will open the door to this opportunity for America's ethanol producers and farmers and airlines to really jump into the aviation fuel marketplace.
Cooper adds that sustainable aviation fuel is a bulwark against a transition away from liquid fuels in the motor vehicle fleet.
Demand for liquid fuels in light duty transportation, we do expect to be flat or declining over the long term, as we do see greater fuel economy and more electrification in the light duty fleet. So we look at aviation as a potentially huge new market opportunity.
The COP28 climate summit in Dubai agreed to triple the use of renewable fuels by 2030 and phase out fossil fuels by 2050. That is to keep the global average temperature from hitting a critical climate changing benchmark. Well, a couple of key reports were made by public ag financial service entities late last week. First off, CoBank released its 2024 year ahead report, which says that lingering high prices are expected to take a bigger toll on the economy in 2024. CoBank says the biggest problem for farm margins headed into the new year is the elevated cost of production. While fertilizer prices have fallen, other production costs remain high. However, ag commodities will benefit from more upside price risk than down in 2024. Global grain and oilseed stock inventories are tight by historic measures, and the Northern Hemisphere will likely have a strong El Nino weather pattern during the growing season for the first time since 2015. The dollar will likely continue its recent decline, and global demand should return to a long-term growth trend. Also, the renewable diesel boom and the smaller U.S. soybean harvest of 2023 will drive an expansion of soybean acreage next year. Profitability for the livestock sector should modestly improve in 2024 as lower feed costs and domestic demand offset weak global exports. Also last week, the Farm Credit Administration received a quarterly report on economic issues affecting agriculture and an update on the financial condition and performance of the farm credit system. Rising interest rates have negatively impacted many of the finance-heavy sectors, including commercial real estate, banking, and farming. While many agricultural inputs cost considerably less than last year, profit margins for many farmers are tighter this year. Crop producers continue to see lower commodity prices, especially for corn and wheat, compared to a year ago. Further price risk stems from lower water levels in key waterways used to transport cash grains. Profit margins for some livestock and specialty crop producers are tighter due to weak commodity prices. The system reported solid financial results through the first 9 months of 2023. System growth has slowed in 2023 against a backdrop of higher interest rates and tighter margins in a number of agricultural sectors. And finally, this morning, along those lines, the USDA has many options for farm borrowers who are having trouble making their loan payments. More from USDA Radio's Gary Crawford.
If you are a farmer with a USDA loan and you cannot make the loan payment, there could be some help available from a couple of programs under the Inflation Reduction Act. USDA Deputy Secretary Xochitl Torres Small says farmers on razor-thin margins can sometimes find themselves in trouble through no fault of their own.
Sometimes it's meant missed payments. Other times it's meant farmers who have taken out a second mortgage or cashed out their retirement in order to keep going. That's why President Biden, through the IRA, has worked to add some breathing room for farmers.
So far, $1.8 billion of breathing room for 32,000 farmers. Farm Service Agency Administrator Zach Ducheneau says the deadline to apply for the IRA programs is December 31st, but he says check with your local FSA office anyway. Find out the full array of possible help.
Loan servicing is still an option. Loan restructuring is still an option.
The main objective?
Keeping farmers farming,
so that they can be a better participant in that rural economy.
Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, you can keep up with the latest from the world of agriculture by subscribing to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast from Rural Strong Media. Each week, I bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We also invite you to join us daily on Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. Each day we bring you our award-winning agriculture programming, as well as the best in traditional country music, mixed in with a little bluegrass, western swing, southern rock, and inspirational music, and now featuring your country Christmas favorites. Again, the place to find Rural Strong Radio is ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app. We're portable, so take us with you everywhere you go while you're working on the farm or ranch. We'll get you through those long, challenging days. Well, I'll be back again tomorrow with another Rural Strong Morning Ag Report here on Steve Shetler Media. Have a great day, everybody.